Hello and welcome, guys. How's it going?
We are groovy. Just having, as I said to you, I'm just having a debate with someone that commented on one of my posts. And obviously, if we don't get people that are a bit hatey, we're not doing it right.
That's it, man. We want to spark discussion. We want to spark controversy. So, what's the debate?
So we also had, because you did a question box and I reshared it and put another question box. So we had
Yep.
the president of the UK DFBA, who is also my boss, because as you know, I'm a judge for them. He said, could we have a bit of a discussion about natural bodybuilding? And I was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. And basically, I did a blackboard saying that I put a few things saying that, this is why people are getting pretty fucked up at times in the bodybuilding space. And one of them was that athletes are told you will not be competitive if you don't take gear. Now, that absolute statement is not correct because we know
No.
there's actual champions all over the world. And I
Yeah.
feel, I've done plenty of consults and I've coached people from other coaches that they were, and I know we take the gear, but they were pressured into that and not even trying a fucking diet first, right?
See,
Like,
that annoys me because it depends on the context, because if you're trying to be a pro, like IFBB pro, some shit, then yeah, it's very hard to get that status, especially in open bodybuilding. If you're natural, it's going to be pretty near impossible. But overall, are you going to be a competitive bodybuilder? Well, there's these natural federations. Like UKFBA was the first one I actually started with. When I started out, as a teenager, I was close to, starting like some sort of fucking Anavar on when I was 18 because I'm looking at other bodybuilders other people at the gym, and they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just wanted to compete. I wanted to compete naturally. I thought I was going to be, competing with the big boys and whatever. But then I found you get FBA. I was like, oh my God, there's natural ones. And yeah, there was a teen category as well. So I was like, okay, there's a class that re suits me for where I'm at in my time. I want to compete. I was like, holy shit, I didn't, there's this whole world. And it really gives an insight on what's achievable naturally. I think AJ was a similar thing. Obviously, he committed down that route, and I went to the dark side and became a steadhead. But
well, obviously, like we all take it, right? So we're not, saying that we don't or any of anything of that nature. But, you know, his blanket terminology also included this guy that commented back that to get respect in the bodybuilding world, you're never going to beat a natural athlete against someone that smashes trend. I was like, okay, we've got a bit of an oversight here because, and I've been back and forth with him because even at Olympia level, they don't all blast a load of gear and a load of trend because you just don't know. Yes, you can sometimes access, what people say they run, etc. But you can't blanket statements in this realm or even in
yeah,
life and absolutes. It just, and I truly, truly believe that most people should ideally do a prep first naturally. Now, I understand if you just want to jump on gear, maybe, you've done sport before, whatever, it's your choice. But I think that a large pool of people probably should consider that first. Like, can you even do the prep? Just a
yeah,
thought.
I agree. I think these absolute statements throw people off because it's like people saying you have to take tren if you want to get to this, or you have to take certain compound. It's like, no, as we discussed previously, I've got my card like without using tren, so it's like you don't have to do certain compounds to take a certain amount to achieve a certain result. It's like saying lifting a certain weight
Mm.
will equal a certain amount of muscularity. It doesn't work like that. There's got to be variance in person to person. Like the people at the Olympia stage, they're extremely gifted, and there are people that are going to be taking less on that stage than some average Joe in the gym. Is
Mm.
absolutely blasting it. It's also the approach. How many times have we seen a natural guy taking overall a PCA? when it's like an untested show. It's like that shit happens. Just because you take gear doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be better. Because there's going to be genetics, but there's also going to be the approach. I find what is beautiful about starting naturally is it forces you to look at the main things you should focus on as a bodybuilder anyway, which is your nutrition recovery. It's going to be your training. And it for if you're trying to be competitive, you have to be diligent with those things, and it teaches you to rely on that instead of drugs. So I'm definitely an advocate of starting doing a prep naturally because one, you get to see the perspective of doing, whether you want to actually what it is you want out of bodybuilder is just attainable naturally, you get that perspective, but also it sets you up, mentally, physically to be a better bodybuilder, in my opinion.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah,
Hola, hola,
We're talking all
amigos.
things
Yep.
natural. I also, as
I'm
well,
on the
too.
I'm on the wrong podcast, and I fucking hell. Hang on.
Good I am.
That's what we're talking about. Some
It
people
makes a
have
change.
some
Yes, go
people
on.
have medical conditions. I know people with heart conditions that can't do gear. So does that mean, well, you're not allowed to compete then? And when we talk about respect, one of the things as a competitive bodybuilder is the work ethic that you show as a bodybuilder that you would respect. It's not that you take tren or take gear, and also the female side of the sport. Now, if you do gear and then you do a prep and you think, I don't really like this, I don't really want to do this, you could be fucking infertile, right? From taking gear and you don't even want to pursue competitive bodybuilding. Now, and that's not just the fucking like, oh, you could just be infertile. You genuinely could, okay? And masculization, like the various things that can
Yeah.
happen with females, because they're told, and this is the problem, you have to take gear if you want to be
Yeah.
competitive.
Yeah.
That's the argument, right? That's the first thing
To
that's
to play devil's advocate, you could also make yourself infertile doing the natty prep wrong as well,
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
I think it goes to show it's like you've got to be your approach. You need to do shit right, you
yeah.
know, because a lot of people think, well, if you're natty, you're going to be healthy. No, there's people that will
It
still
fucked me up.
botch it up. Yeah,
well, do you know what? Like I'll be honest. As much as we're sort of championing, yeah, you can be natty and all that, and yes, you can. Of course, you can. But if you want to take it to the highest level that you personally can, then you do have to use steroids. So, as much as I agree with you, Sarah, like, can you be competitive? Yeah. And in fact, shout out to Josh Cullen, a guy that I coached in 2022-23. He became a PCA British champion naturally.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
beat guys using gear naturally.
yeah,
So of course it's possible, but if he wanted to take his physique the furthest he possibly could, he has to use steroids. So
yeah,
that distinction needs to be made. And actually, just one more thing, sorry. When we talk about respect, I would even go one further and say that people get more respect for being natural. If you can be really, really good and be natural, I would actually say that garners more respect than someone who's just blasting all the time, you know?
I love that. This
yeah,
is where, like you say, it's context to what competitive means for you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
if you've got someone on a consult and they're like, right, my dream is to be at the Olympia. The thing is, there is a natural Olympia, right? So, I mean, there's so many rabbit holes and caveats and various things, which is why we want to talk about it, right? Because podcasts are good to do that. But I do believe there is that just it's that blanket term of well, you don't get respect if you do it naturally, and you're not
mm,
going to be competitive because competitive is unique to us. And I think sometimes, you go on this journey and you find a federation you like, whether that's tested or untested, and maybe you want to try the natural circuit first. Maybe you then go, I've been in it for a while, like. I probably want to go down the assisted route now. This is me. I really want to do this. I want to pursue something like the Olympia. So I just don't like the thought of the choice being removed. And as I say,
Mm.
take the gear. Okay, so we do take the gear, so it's on us.
yeah,
But I don't like that sort of pressure, if you know what I mean. It's
yeah.
like,
I think if there's a coach that doesn't even open the perspective of you can do this naturally, like that's one of the things that I will, if someone's coming to me and they want to be starting PEDs, I'll say, right, there is this perspective, I'll give them the opportunity to go. and compete naturally. And just help them make an informed decision. It's their decision at the end of the day. But when you say to clients, right, you this is what pisses me off, even if it's a lifestyle client and they're trying to lose a bit of weight or some shit. It's like, right, you need to take Anavar, da 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 da. It's like, bro,
Yeah, for
the
weight loss.
fuck? Like, why? It's just,
Gonna harden you
yeah,
up.
yeah, man. What's your opinion on this, Mark? Do are natural bodybuilders any good?
To be honest with you, so I was working in Expo. What was it? Which one was it recently? The Arnold's, right? And this kid approached. Yeah, I was with Rob. You know Rob Holloway. We were behind, and this kid just come out of nowhere, just started talking, and we just looked at him, and we just could see his shape. He was a young kid. I think he's like 21, 22. I'm sure he was. He's just competed recently. Actually, I won't name any names right now. Um, and we just got talking, and like I just like said to him, like, give us a look at you. You look like you're in decent shape. And he lifted his top. I was like, what the fuck? Honestly blew my mind, right? So the first thing I thought was like, okay, he looks completely unassisted. I'm not going to lie. He just looks fucking jacked. Uh, and I asked him, so have you competed yet? No, I've never competed. I'm thinking about him like, oh, God. And I was like, shit, this is unreal. So I was looking at Rob, thinking, is this fucking for real? And then I asked him, so what are you running? And he goes, nothing. Never ran anything. And I'm honestly, right, I'm just not saying if it's the new breed or the generation or whatever, but I looked at Rob and I thought that guy would wipe the floor with many, many people if he got on it, but even as he was. And true to that, I think he did his first show, PCA Naturals, a few weeks back. And, I think he absolutely wiped the floor. And he was also a junior. So, um,
Did he win the overall?
no, he was the kid. I mean, I won't mention his name just in case for his own like privacy. But he didn't. But I think he then went on the week after to win another one. I'm not sure. He's only 22. He's in immense shape. Honestly, just ridiculous, ridiculous potential.
When you're a genetic freak, it's like, wow.
Yeah, well, I asked if I could see his legs. The first thing I did was show me his legs because I thought, and you know what, they weren't too bad at all. I'm like, fucking yes, fair play. So can it be done? There's me again. It's a genetic thing, isn't it? With when it comes to natural shows, I think genetics is
Yeah.
a huge part of that.
Do you think so here's the question. Do you think that natural bodybuilding is safer or not than assisted?
Yeah,
Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
yeah.
dieting. Yeah, just to clarify what I mean is, yeah, when you're dieting to extreme levels naturally, how damaging is that compared to someone assisted? So yeah,
Yeah, I think if we're going to look overall, I would say, it's going to be safer than the assisted side because I think a lot of the issues occur with how much you push your body weight up.
Yeah, but
It's that side of things. But again, there have been people that have really fucked their testosterone and the
yeah,
hormones through dieting, and they're struggling to get it back without TRT, which then the option is, do you fix yourself hormonally or compete as a natural bodybuilder? Which is like some people are in that dilemma,
I
you
think a
know?
lot of it as well when it comes to whether it be natural or unnatural, like there could be something wrong with anybody. We just never know what's going on inside. There could be something genetic, some disorder, anything that could be wrong. And it just so happens that a lot of the shit that happens to the people who get into trouble or die, always gear is always pointed out. But this could be some sort of fucking defect wrong with their bodies or whatever. Could also happen to the natural people. Just uh, it's just a bit more of Russian roulette when you're on the gear, aren't you?
I
So
think I think so. I think just to add a little anecdote here, I may have said it on one of the other ones. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I've had my bloods taken on numerous preps in off season on lower cycle and
mm,
in prep on a higher cycle, and my bloods are almost always no, not almost. They are always better when I'm
Yeah,
on more steroids,
yeah,
but my
yeah,
body fat is lower.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
So
Like
you're healthier
I've noticed
overall.
this 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, I'm better when I'm like peak
About flat.
dosage. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
Healthier
yeah.
overall. I
'Cause-
feel like as well it's what compounds you use, and also there's genetic that there's a response individually to each person, right? So whatever compound it is, there's going to be different effects per person. Like some people can run gear for a long period of time, female realms. don't notice any virilization, maybe a bit of hair or whatever. But not the effects of someone that could run some anavar and their voice could completely change and they essentially masculinize. So like you say, Russian roulette is the good.
Oh yeah, like I've got a good anecdote about this. Like, I started when I first started my cycle. I started at the same time as my buddy, and we started the same amount, did the same lab,
So,
and
okay.
we did it for the same period of time. We got our bloods back, and mine was, pretty decent, and his was just horrendous, and he wanted to go. He was bodybuilding naturally, and he made the decision. He was like, "I want to be a pro," blah blah blah, blah. And then he was like, "Fuck, I don't." His response from that was like, "Wow, I don't think I can actually push to be pro. I actually guarantee that my health's not going to be completely wiped out." So that
Mm.
took him out of bodybuilding. It just goes to show that was like a real time perspective, because
But then
that was
again,
the
you didn't know your start points though.
Like what
Your
yeah.
baseline blood
As in
work as well.
your blood to begin with, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That is true. I mean, also a good point. It's like when and I think a lot of us will attest to this. It's when we do start gear, we are more diligent with checking health markers. Whereas I know I was. I never like checked my blood pressures frequent, my blood glucose, my got a full panel of bloods, and got echocardiograms and shit like that. Never when I was natural. So you can still have issues pop up, right? As we say, when you're natural, and people won't be checking it as frequent. So potentially there's some shit there. Anyway,
I think that basically is the common conception, sorry, misconception, excuse me, is that natural health, unnatural unhealthy. When actually it's not as black and white as that. And you could have some issues that actually are going to affect you regardless. Now,
Yeah.
using steroids will probably compound issues that you have got, probably. But again, as you just mentioned there, Jack, people are more conscientious when they're using steroids. So there's an argument for that as well.
I feel
Just
like
sorry,
there you go.
just out of curiosity, is one to ask, like, how long of a time was there before you guys, became became assisted from when you started training? So,
I started training at 17 and I started using steroids at 24, but not properly. I didn't start properly until I was 27. So when I say not properly, I literally was playing with it. Like I did 1 mil every. It was just I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. I literally just put a bit in and then didn't for another 4 weeks. And
yeah,
properly 10 years.
10
Properly,
years, yeah, okay,
properly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I think
feel
that's
like there's that for me. It's a bit of a combination of the things we're already talking about. So I prepped naturally and did many seasons natural first, and part of my reason to go assisted was what we've sort of touched on with regards to my testosterone was 0.01. I didn't have a period for 6 years. I was pretty fucked up from a hormonal standpoint. And I tried therapeutic endeavors, etc. I was a serial prepper as well. So, like in 12 years, I did 7 preps. One of them was the 13-month one. So, I was doing back-to-back preps, not very long in off seasons. So no wonder I was pretty fucked up. But then there's the fem test, which I use, and it was like, okay, actually I could use that to replace hormone replacement basically. So that was part of my starting program. And I didn't use anabolic straight away. I used fem test, injectable L-cart, and then went into using anabolics as well. So my reason was sort of what we're part of the reason. And for me, I know this is my thing, and I was like, what for me, it's what can I explore and what are the possibilities with my physique by adding some chemistry, as Tony Hughes calls it. So yeah,
science.
yeah. And
thanks,
to
bitch.
extend into that, if you are a natural athlete, perhaps like you were saying, Ryan, what's healthier, as it were. Perhaps that's why we see natural athletes taking longer off season. So some of them take sort of 2, 3, 4 years that I know of. So maybe that helps, if you are in the natural realms as well.
Mine was about 6, 7 years, I think. But I was like on and off training from the time I was like 15, 16 as a kid, just doing bits. But then I think I was 22 first time ever. And do you know what the funny thing is? I actually got recommended it when I broke my hand. broke my metacarpal after smashing my hand through a wall. I didn't fight back, obviously, and half my hand went through the plasterboard, and the other half was stopped on the beam. So snapped it
Yeah.
completely, and someone said to me, "Get on some Deca, that'll sort it." It
Oh,
does.
stop,
Uh,
stop.
It
Get
Isn't
works.
it mad the way people think of DECA? People think DECA's like this healing thing for you. Like, oh, you got bad joints. You say it to some fucking 80-year-old on a Zimmer frame. Take some DECA, bro.
this is
It's
yeah.
crazy
grateful,
because that's
maybe.
all I took was no test or anything. It was just the old, remember the
Oh
old
shit, man.
what were they called? The
You
blue.
went in balls deep. Balls
Yeah,
deep. Went in
Yeah.
try.
fucking amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Big bucket of that fucking weight gain and all that shit back in the day.
Oh
No
yeah,
Yeah, I
fucking
remember
Luke.
that.
You went
Supermax.
That's the
Yeah.
one.
in.
Yeah, I was 22 as well when I first started. I did so I started training at 16, did my first shows when I was 18, 19, and then I did two natural preps, two natural seasons, and then yeah, at 22, the first one was like I wanted to try bodybuilding. The second one was like I wanted to see if I really loved this enough to make the decision to actually go for this because I was like, right, I want to be a pro, but I need to see if I can actually do the prep, not just once, but twice. I can keep that passion there. I've got, I'm doing an off season, I'm doing a prep, blah, blah. If so, I know if I've got potential as well. I wanted to see that from myself competitively against other people. And yeah, then afterwards I was like, cool, let's let's take some gear.
Let's
And
take some more.
you
I
know,
open the because
yeah.
it's funny because it's like I've interviewed so many people that are like, well, I always said I wouldn't do X compound, whatever that may be. Maybe it's insulin's quite a common one actually.
Mm.
I've only used insulin a couple of times and fucking hell, what an experience. Not required for a bikini girl. But anyway, so sometimes it's like I wouldn't take insulin as an example. But one compound creates a gateway too. Ooh, some more chemistry here. What could I? And we can start here and go, well, I'd only run X compounds or whatever. And then suddenly it's like you maybe get more competitive, you get more into it, you see the physique change, and then you have that gateway all the way through. It's part of our personalities a lot of the time, BBs as well. Like we are a bit fucking batshit crazy, right?
Do you know what? I want to bring up a post that I saw and I commented on it. And he replied once, and then I think he got pissed off.
Love it.
He's on prep at the moment, so I'll let him off, right? But we all know Tom Hames.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Tom Hames says, like, in my opinion, he says some sweeping statements regarding steroids, and I don't always agree. And I let a lot of them go, but I replied to one yesterday. He said, "More steroids means you'll be bigger." Like, basically, he just made that blanket statement. If you use more steroids, you'll be bigger. And I was like, I can't let it go. I can't because then I think Mark, I don't want to misquote you. You just said something a minute ago. I make my whatever. And basically, it's basically on that assumption, then we are saying that the guys at the Olympia level, I know it was you, Sarah, the guys at the Olympia level are using the most gear. And I don't think, again, that's not necessarily true. So I think that, like, being the way that we are, like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Then before you know it, the floodgates open. And then you see posts like what Tom's done. And it's incredibly like, oh, more gear, more size. Oh, okay, fucking hell, okay. Where does that end? How damaging is that for certain guys? And I know that Tom's a genuine guy. I like Tom, so I know that he's not meaning it that way, but it can be interpreted that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
well, it
thing.
has been in the past, hasn't it? People have misinterpreted that kind of shit in the past, and look what it's
As I
landed
say,
us.
there's no shade on Tom. I like Tom, so it's not
I
about
know.
But
that. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
100%. But
Something can
that's
be
like saying
improved.
it's like saying the more volume you do, the more you're gonna grow. And it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, you from what you can recover from. And it's the same with gear. It's like from what you can uptake, and it's these negatives on your body, where you're gonna have these diminishing returns. There's gonna be enough stress on the body where you're not getting the results. And I think you've also got to, I suppose, earn an amount with androgen receptors as you gain more muscle, basically. The bigger you are,
yeah.
then yeah, you're able to uptake more. So it doesn't make sense if someone's taking a gram of gear, or a gram of test, for example, they're not going to uptake it as the same way in comparison to if they were like 50 pounds heavier of muscle, that same
Yeah.
person.
I think as well, it's just so misleading because I've even had people come to me, like want to be clients. I'll give an example, right? There's this one guy called Jake. I had him years and years and years ago, right? And he came to me and he said, he's running 4 mil of test. I went, what does 4 mil mean?
Mm.
I love
You know,
this.
yeah, you know when they say the mil, right? So I
Ah,
said,
Yeah.
what does that mean? And he took a photo of it, and guess what it was? Test
Test
400.
400. Yeah.
Test 400. So he's taking 1.6 grams of test. Okay,
Okay, now.
right?
oh, you
And
know.
and also, guys, he was about 75 to 80 kilos, and just a lifestyle client, right? Not even a bodybuilder. Yeah. So just
No.
to go back to the point of this post, more steroids equals bigger you're going to be. I know I know multiple examples of where this just isn't true. I know how much I use, and I know my size, and I know people using more than me, and they're not bigger than me, and yeah, crazy.
So
Yeah.
I think I have to consider because I also put on this blackboard one of the points was that sometimes people are going to report as clients that a compound isn't working for them. So the reply then being from the coach, well, you don't want it bad enough. And this person, yeah,
Oh my god.
and in the so
Wow.
through doing the podcast and building the female bodybuilding side, and that being my little mission in life, a lot of females are coming forward to me and their like the protocols, if I was to show you them, are fucking wild. We talk about trend, females on trend. Now, these are multiple compounds. There's some that are 8 to 12 compounds being put in a prep, and the female is going to the coach and saying, I do not feel good. One of them went to the coach and said, I feel suicidal. I am not okay. I'm waking up all night sweating with the train, obviously, and various others. Mentally, I'm not okay. You don't want it bad enough. That's the
Mm.
Wow.
Fucking
So
well,
wet wipe.
so sorry. I got to like kick back a little bit. Now, I absolutely think that's disgusting, by the way. So I agree, by the way. But I also think there needs to be some personal agency as well. If your
yeah.
coach is doing that, like I would literally laugh in the face of a coach who said something like that. If
Now
someone
that
was, yeah, I'll just be like, really? When people still do this, like that's now on you.
Yeah.
That's now on you. That's
I
your
I
responsibility.
think,
Yeah,
see,
and this is the conversation I had just quickly with one of them about this. All of her friends, when she came out and said, "This is what's happened," said to her, "Why didn't you tell us? Like,
Yeah.
why did you do that? Because we know that you wouldn't ordinarily do that. You know it's not right, bearing in mind heavily in a deficit as well." So, and she was like, "Because he's taken people to the Olympia and." When he says I haven't got what it takes and I don't want it bad enough, the psychological bandwidth in the preparation as well. This is not an excuse, by the way, because I agree, Ryan. We do need to, but it just became this compounding effect of not being able to make the right decisions, not knowing what to do,
Yeah. I get it.
isolating
Mm.
and
I
not taking
understand.
on.
No,
So,
yeah,
he's psychologically he's got in there, isn't he?
it's
yeah,
a,
and
it's a tricky one.
you get told, right? You get told you don't want it bad enough. All four of us would go, yes, I fucking do.
Yeah,
But yeah,
If
you trust that
I'm doing
person
it.
to have your best
But,
interest as well, don't you? So
yeah, and
I
I try and
think as
I
that's
well,
try.
it.
your judgments are impaired when you're in a deficit for a long period of time,
Mm.
maybe sleep deprived, maybe.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's the perspective that you have, right? Because if you're newer into the game and you're like, okay, this person's got X results, this is what is required, this is what people
Yeah,
who are on the Olympia stage do. You're like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Then maybe I'm at fault for thinking this is bad. And then you can
yeah,
easily be gaslighted to thinking, oh
yeah,
shit, I'm wrong for even questioning that. And I think when you get more perspective of like, okay, I've worked with a coach or I coach people and you know how things should feel and where, what is right and what's wrong, you know, it's,
yeah,
that's where you can go, right, fuck this. I've always, because, this does get said a good few times. I do think there's definitely a balance with that because you want to be with a coach that you can trust to take you there. And,
mm,
a lot of people aren't going to know everything behind the reason of why the coach is doing it. So, because I know there's some people that can absolutely question everything a coach is doing and they're telling everyone, and they're like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And then,
mm,
coaches, all the coaches are getting, oh, that's terrible, da, 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 da. And it's like, you know, they're just hearing a bunch of voices that is going to defer them from actually just following the plan when there's nothing wrong with the actual plan. But at the same time, you also can't just be blindly trusting someone, especially when it comes to that. It's hard to know when or how to apply it to what extent.
And you know what as well? Sorry, sir, you go on.
I always put on any of these posts, and if I do a talking reel or whatever, and I'm glad you said it, Ryan, because this is what we're here for, right? I always put "we take the gear," or I sign out with "remember, we take the gear."
Yeah.
I think that conversations like this and awareness in the space allows us to actually have a bit more of a voice ourselves in coaching relationships, because you can almost feel. And I know plenty of people that are almost in an abusive relationship with a coach, right? Like, and we
Mm.
know, even if you were, you're with someone, as in intimately, abusive relationships are a thing, right? We
Mm.
do things in relationships where we're like, who the fuck was I?
Yeah.
That person fucking abused the shit out of me, and I was there going, I love you. So it's a very similar relationship we're building there, because you almost entrust, and I'm talking high level athletes as well, not the sort of amateur realm, they've prepped many times, etc. But you do lose that cognitive function, and maybe you trust too much. But this is why the conversations are good. But you're right. I'm
It's
glad you said that,
it's
Ryan.
it's Stockholm syndrome, isn't it? It's like
Yes,
yeah. It's
That's it.
that's
That's
it.
yeah.
exactly what it is.
I think the
Mm.
thing is, well, as bodybuilders and as coaches, right? So we kind of like send a mixed signal, like, and I say we collectively, like, I don't mean anyone specifically, right? We're like, if it's got to be hard. If you're not suffering, then you're probably not doing it right. And there is an element of truth to that, but there is obviously a point at which it's like too much. Okay, you need to be uncomfortable, but then there's also too much. You need to put your body under stress, but not too
Mm.
much. Like, so it is a little bit confusing. Where is that line? Like, because you have to be you have to be under stress to be in prep, right? Because you're training really
Full
hard,
apart
you're sleep
times.
deprived. So it's like, yeah, it is hard sometimes. And you'll have people pushing a message of saying, you need to push, push, push. And then some people are talking about fatigue management. And then it's like, well, where?
Mm. It's also right, heat-seeking missiles, which us four, I can almost guarantee we are. It's like I won't say if I'm fucked up, right? Like I won't say. I'll just keep. I'm like, and in my last prep, my coach asked me once, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm okay." And he was like, "No, how are you?" And I was like, "Do you actually want me to tell you?" Because I don't feel the need to. This is, as
Yeah,
you say, this is
Yeah.
bodybuilding.
I'll do whatever it takes.
I,
Yeah,
I,
I've
I
been
feel
in
I
it.
feel like one of my coaches. Well, I've only had one coach, but one of the preps, he kept saying, "How are you getting on? Are you hungry yet?" And I was like, "Nope, nope. I was starving. I was fucking starving." But I almost had too much pride to admit any
Yeah, yeah.
weakness.
I
I
mean,
don't want
I've
to
done
admit
it.
weakness, so
I've done it
I
many
was like
times.
2 weeks out on like fuck all food, and I was like, "Ah, fine, fine,
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely fine.
Drop some more. Drop some more calories. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck it. Don't need them. Don't need them."
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, it is hard to know that line, and if you're less experienced, it's like, well, where is it? Where is
Mm.
that?
Yeah, but we do want that work ethic. This is what we've spoken about on previous pods. Like you, and it's that personality type. But you can't be a pussy. But you can also be
Yeah,
almost
exactly. Yeah,
hardcore, like
yeah,
hardcore. And there's like, I mean, yeah, you're,
yeah.
and also the personal circumstance of the client, right? So where are they at? If they have had a life of being abused, well, guess what? Prep's easy. So they're
Yeah.
like, fucking give me this shit.
Yeah.
I want the suffering. Give me more, give me more, give me more. So and it's like mentally as well, not just physiologically, where are people at? And that's the difficulty, right? Like,
That's the coach's job now to create an environment where they feel like they can open up. There needs to be trust two ways, right? And I guess that's the onus is a little bit on the coach to make it feel that we can discuss these things. You're not going to shame someone for feeling tired. You're not going to shame them for being hungry, but also you're going to know when to push them as well. And it's a skill that you learn over time, I guess.
yeah,
it's
because
it's it's
we're therapists.
it's
Yeah,
funny that
well,
you say that because you see it when we talk about fake bitches and that, and you see I've seen people come up to me and show me like responses from their coaches and stuff, right? Or some specific individual coaches. And funny that these coaches post things on socials like they're fucking, you know, absolutely against all that and should never do. And I've seen some of the responses to
Yeah.
check-ins, and I'm like, you fucking bullshit. What the fuck? I've seen. You're a horrible cunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I've seen plenty of that, mate. Plenty of that.
mm,
Yeah.
funny
When you're
that.
Should we start naming names?
Fucking hell.
Let's do
Now,
it. Let's fucking have it.
I've,
All
I've
right.
been,
We've got
I've been
private
waiting for this
WhatsApp.
moment for so long.
Yeah.
This is the private WhatsApp part, guys.
Go for it. Go for it.
No, I
Oh,
can't do it. I can't. I don't want my inbox blowing up. I've just been in an argument with someone else about something else, and it takes up too much of your time. I think
And energy.
Yeah.
you end up spending like fucking 2 hours arguing about.
it's draining, man. Just so fucking
Mm.
draining.
So no,
When you got
no,
Energy
energy.
vampires.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna be controversial, right? So no, no.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't, a lot of the time, and this, I have to balance this myself with the role I've taken upon myself in the female bodybuilding world. I have to be careful with, what actually consumes my energies. And I'm always like, my mind is going all the time with, if I'm going to make a reel, I could literally spend like a minute recording it, but then I'm picking it apart. So if this person sees it, what will they?
Yeah.
And I like that because that works for my brain. But I'm taking a position in the female bodybuilding where I have to think about all of these things and the energies from that alone, let alone the arguments we can have. And you don't lose. You don't win to a loser. They just keep on and
Yeah.
on and
Yeah.
on. In the end, we have to go, look.
That's it. Because
Is
at
that
the
like,
end of the day, if
Yeah,
you're having these discussions, you want to actually get somewhere with them. You want to
right?
actually have a compromise or a new change
mm,
of perspective. If it becomes about who's going to be right, a lot of the time you can make a point and people will just you know still
yeah,
argue just
yeah,
to for the sake of arguing, and then it's like you waste your fucking time.
Let's
yeah,
put it. Let's put it like this. If there's anybody watching this who is like being a
Cut.
bit shifty, a bit dodgy, that they're not getting the right kind of responses or something isn't right, and they're feeling it instinctively, I'm happy for them to reach out to me anytime if they need some kind of a clarification or something. So
yeah.
if you are
That's
watching this
good.
and you are going through a shit time, or if you think
Yeah,
something's not right, feel free to reach
Yeah.
out to one of us and
definitely, man.
keep it
Yeah,
private between us if you want.
And that's where we draw it back to when we do put anything out as because I'm not an influencer, but we could be deemed as influencers, right? Because we're in the space, or maybe you talk to someone at an expo, whatever. This is not just social media. We sometimes have to remember, and this is what I try and do, who are we trying to help here? So I'm glad you've intervened with that, Mark, because that's important. Because sometimes you can get lost in thoughts, right, and
Yeah.
discussion. But we have to draw this back. There could be hundreds of people who watch this, and it's like that scarcity that's formed through these relationships or not being good enough or whatever position you're in, you can feel like a fucking failure for
Mhm.
asking for a bit of help or
Yeah.
support. But we are, as you can tell, we're in this. We've been in it for so long as well. We are not ourselves. So reach out, reach out.
I tell you what, that's a great message, by the way. But I tell you what,
Love
like
that.
something that us boys probably don't think about. Sarah, for you, it must be so much more draining because there are so many people with such a negative view on females, bodybuilding, like muscles, let alone anabolics. Like you've got so many more obstacles than what we as men have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It must be a
For
right pain in
sure.
the ass.
yeah, I have to be very careful. Like, so we're saying obviously reach out to people. Something I talk about on my podcast is because I had a flurry for a number of years and I didn't really clock that it was happening. A lot of people reaching out about anabolics, about the conflict they face, and they had a coach, but they wanted me as like a second opinion and stuff. So I always say if you've got a coach, I'm not going to give you any advice, but from the female muscle side. Like, and this is where I say, and I'm not joking, the amount of effort that goes into like a reel or a podcast, because I'm constantly, and I'm obviously interviewing bigger people in the space, not from a muscular standpoint, from a reach standpoint. Like, like it can fuck me up. Like I can do a pod, and I've gone on a journey, okay? Like
Mm.
people that have been through some serious shit. And I didn't know, obviously, I don't know their story. But I will say also men, I've had men break down on my podcast, like absolutely break down. I had one guy that came on once that got raped as a 5-year old, and I didn't know. And we spoke about it on the pod, and all of this stuff, the emotional bandwidth, you're right there, Ryan. I have to clock myself. I have to check myself because I want to give. Okay, I want to give. I want to help. But sometimes it's like shit,
Mm.
'cause I'm being this like community warden almost, and I want it. But you're right. I have to touch point with myself and just,
It's, but just as I say, so many people have a negative view on it. Like, and it's I don't know, like where to place your energy must be pretty annoying. I tell you what, like I had even last week. I had people trying. So funny enough, we say about reach out if you're having problems with your coach, and I agree with the message. But then I have people reaching out to me just wanting free advice,
Yeah,
and
that's not,
I
what I
find
meant.
that that's quite jarring, right? That's quite jarring.
Yeah,
Um, they
yeah.
just send me their cycle. They go, "What do you think of this?" Duh, duh, duh. And I go, "I don't really think anything of it, mate. I'll be honest. I think
Have
nothing. I
physique
think
shots.
zero."
They send you the physique shots and say,
yeah.
"What do you think?" And you're like, "I should
I
coach."
think it's tricky, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people that will just um I don't know, like sort of there's a lot of poachers out there, right? That love that shit. When there's an opportunity, when there's a client saying, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And then again, like they'll go, "Oh, right, everything's terrible, blah blah blah," when it's not, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit!" Yeah, I feel like there is a line because there is absolutely cases where the coach is horrendous. Speak to him, treating him like horrendous, and they need that outside perspective to go, "Oh, this is not okay, man. You're paying for
Yeah.
a service. You're being mistreated." But there is sometimes a point where people also need to be aware when they're reaching out to other coaches, they're just trying to get you through the door as a client. It's like they might just tell you what you want to hear or give you like a full promise. It's like, right, if you join me, I'll get into the fucking Olympia. You'll be Mr. Olympia. You'll be something. Yeah,
Mm.
you know what I mean? And you'll be healthier. You'll be like taller. You'll be fucking 400 pounds meat. You know what I mean?
Your dick's
It's,
gonna grow.
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna get a load of pussy.
yeah, that's it.
To be fair, if a
Diarrhea.
coach, said that, I might be like, hmm,
Yeah, I'm like,
okay,
yeah,
well,
okay, cool,
I
cool.
can open doors for you.
How much are you charging?
What fucking doors?
could do with a couple more inches. Honestly, that sounds great. Honestly.
Actually, we could regenerate your ball bag.
Fuck me,
Wow.
Wow.
fuck me,
I
I
can
need
hear the
that.
cues forming already.
Fuck yeah. I don't
I
know.
can make you have testicles. I can regenerate your testicles. Sign up with
I
me.
don't know how I would feel about that though. They've been gone for so long.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
having them occupy space again. I'd be so worried about banging them on shit.
yeah, sitting on them and stuff.
If
Do
I'd,
you know what? I mean, this is going to be maybe a slightly off subject, but in just saying that now, and kind of coming back to what we said about you can fuck yourself up with competing and making yourself infertile and stuff. Like a little known fact about me, not many people know, but I've never had to worry about that shit because I am infertile, and I have
Really?
been for 24 years, believe it or not. So, because obviously I had the chemotherapy when I was 15.
Oh
I didn't
yes.
even know. I didn't even know.
So,
Wow,
so I had stage 4 cancer when I was 15, right?
wow.
And I had to undergo like really fucking hardcore treatment. And back then, they come leaps and bounds in science now, but back then it was literally just injecting you with a poison and hoping for the best kind of thing, just all out. So I had to obviously I had to save my sperm or store my sperm in storage in cryo storage in Liverpool. Luckily, I did because I've got 3 kids because of it. And
Wow.
it was a weird decision to make, but that's never been something in the back of my mind. So I could have probably gone all gung ho willy nilly, just taken every fucking thing under the sun, right, and
mm,
like not give a shit about later down the line about
yeah.
being infertile. But I never have done, never actually gone to that level where I needed to. But I've always been infertile, so I've never had to worry about
Hey,
like.
Mark, you've just said that so like casually. That's incredible, mate.
It is
That's
mad, isn't it?
incredible. That is amazing. Well, first, I'm sorry you went through that. Secondly, I'm glad you're here. Thirdly, you saved your sperm from when you're 15, and then you've got 3 kids now. That's
That
fucking
was a
great.
weird one. I'm inside,
Amazing.
going to a little room and mum and dad waiting outside, and
It's
they were
business as usual
they
at
were
that age.
they weren't mobile phones back then. It was fucking sticky pages from magazines and that.
Business
Well,
All
as
passed
usual.
down. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
coming
it's
out the
that
room
age. It's
like
like,
phew.
hey, do you want to do what you do already?
Yeah,
And
telling the 15-year-old to do it is like, well, I was doing that anyway.
three
it's
Uh,
like,
days in a
cool.
row. 3 days back to back in a row, going back to the same room, fucking doing my business, looking my mum in
Shit,
the eye,
man.
going, "Yeah, done." You know what I mean?
That's
Setting
crazy.
a wanking PB.
I feel like we can add more substance to why you are the way you are, Mark.
Yeah, I think you can. Makes a lot of fucking sense.
The
All
gratitude you have for life, for the
Yes.
general, like, and I feel like probably your ability as a bodybuilder, if you, and I don't want to assume, but if
right.
you've been through that at a young age, I'd imagine bodybuilding is like, yeah, I've
Yeah,
You
adversity
know,
makes people.
yeah, I guess like I've not been through something like that, so again, it's probably a bit weird for me to even say. But you can imagine everything feeling a lot easier. But then I bet to you, Mark, it's almost just like, well, yeah, that just happened, and I had to get over it. You know, and you just sort of you took it in your stride almost because
You
you
know,
had
when we
to, right?
said, yeah, when we said earlier about like doing the unnecessary suffering or whatever in the prep, or enjoy that kind of thing, or it's fucking, I've had worse. I honestly, I've said this thing was last week. I said I actually enjoy that side of prep. I prefer to be in a deficit and suffering rather than fucking off season.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I just find it really easy, and it's weird because I definitely think there's like a sadistic side to me now because of all that, because I have found other things so easy, and it's just a weird one. I can't explain it. Really can't explain it.
you've seen your pain tolerance at such a young age, and I've seen how high that could go. I bet a lot of things after that would probably fall short to like challenge you. Um,
In terms of
Probably seem
drugs
easier.
and the sensitivity to drugs and all that, I do find that's something I have had for a long time. I'm not saying I can just go to a club and fucking quadruple drop and be all right. But that's something though I can probably do. But I do find
Yeah,
that, like,
damn.
especially with having so many, like, for example, anesthesia, I've become, anesthetics, I've kind of become a little bit tolerant to that.
Mm.
Um, Certain medication, I won't feel like painkillers or whatever. It's all this stuff. My body just doesn't feel it the same as other people. So I could have probably taken shitloads of stuff, but like I said, I never have. I never felt the need to. Never had that
That's
It feels like
crazy.
it feels like a bit of a backwards logic, but like it happening to you probably shaped your personality and made you
Yeah,
stronger for it, right? And
yeah, for
it
sure.
seems it's weird to say it's good that it happened. Of course, it's not good that it happened, but like, yeah, you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, it was life changing within a day. I turned from a 15-year-old to an adult in literally
Mm.
a second.
Yeah,
It's
that shit
crazy.
will age you. That's
Big
mad.
big respect, mate. Big
Yeah,
Thank
respect.
you,
for
man.
sure.
Appreciate
There's
that.
there's nothing that that seems impossible to empathize with, but that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But again, this is testament to yourself, right?
Thank you, boys.
Because if you get through something and then you get something either makes you or breaks you, right? And
Mm.
you become stronger from that, you become better, and obviously you've just used that as a trajectory for life,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
He's an actual real life Avenger. Like,
It is, man. This guy is like Captain America. So I've got a question for the group, right? I've been sent a question just whilst we were chatting about natural bodybuilding. It's quite an interesting one. Should Reta be banned in natural bodybuilding? So as far as I'm
Oh,
aware, it's
Mm.
it's not banned in natural bodybuilding, and it's crazy because I remember having a conversation with a client of this recently, and he was like, "Should I?" And he's not prepped before. He's like, "If I prep, should I take Reta?" And I was like, "Well, you'd be better off experiencing your prep without. That'd be cool, especially." I know the reasons why he wants to do it. He wants to do it to really test himself. And I'm like, if you want that full experience. But then again, he said, well, the other competitors could be using it and that could be an advantage. That was the first time I've thought about natural bodybuilding that way. Because that was the great thing about natural bodybuilding is it's like, okay, it's not this comparison of, right, that guy's using that, so maybe I need to use that to feel like you could be competitive. Um, you know, it's like maybe with the assisted side, you have that sort of mindset. It's like, okay, well, I can't go on stage and try to turn pro on just a TRT dose. So, and that guy's using HGH, or that guy's using insulin, and then it can sort of creep in with people's decisions, so they can feel sort of pressured by that. Now that's creeping into the natural side, and I just wanted to know your guys' opinions on essentially, yeah, Reta, should it be banned in natural
I,
bodybuilding?
I didn't even know it was. You know what? I'd never even thought about it. Actually, to be honest with you, that's the first I've actually like really absorbed the fact that it's actually legal in natural bodybuilding or hasn't been banned yet. I didn't even think about it. Never crossed my mind.
It's mad.
Never crossed my
Yeah,
mind.
me either. And now I'm
That's
thinking
a
about it, I'm
massive
thinking,
advantage.
yeah, something that gives you such a huge advantage, I personally would say should be gone.
Yeah, 'cause
Personally.
I got a question about what was
Wow.
oh, I think it was injectable L-cot.
Kind of
Maybe
thing.
I asked AJ. Obviously, he is the
Yeah.
natural, he's the natural king, and he was like, anything you inject is not.
Mm,
Yeah. I had
yeah.
this conversation with AJ and he was like, yeah, everything you reject is no bueno. But like I don't think L-carnitine is like a make or break thing,
Not
to be
game changing
honest.
enough, is it? It's not
Yeah,
game changing enough.
but Reta, I would say, yeah, because for a lot of people, I know it's got its downsides with, it can make it harder to sort of get food in, etc. But, it can kill.
Mm.
It can kill your appetite, it can kill that craving and just make it easy to be fucking peeled.
Well, it's
It's hard though.
100% advantage in it. It's definitely 100% advantage, no matter how you look at it. So,
But
Yeah,
but then it's weird, Nick, because like if you were to line up all supplements, like line them up from like harshest to least harsh, yeah, like where's that random line? It's a bit arbitrary, isn't it? We
Yeah.
just randomly decide that's where you are. This one you're allowed, that one you're not. Like
mm.
it's a bit strange that we do that. Like we allow
mm,
creatine, obviously, and then we don't allow other things. But creatine is performance enhancing, right?
yeah.
And some
So,
pre-workouts are banned, right? Like,
yeah,
But
yeah.
cleanse band, it's not a steroid,
So your
but
him being spined as well now, isn't it? From
yeah,
natural
but it
bodybuilding,
was
right?
Yeah, so who's
with
making up this line, this barrier? Who's doing it?
Wada,
it's
Wada
crazy,
Queen,
isn't it? Yeah.
Wada Queen.
Was
I,
it? Was
I,
it? Was that recently introduced? Your him been like last couple of years, wasn't it?
yeah, because Yohimba, you could use Yohimba. Literally,
Yeah.
I asked. This was before I was judging for the UK DFB. I had a natty client that asked if she could use Yohimba, and I checked with. I won't say who because I don't need to name drop, but I checked and that was probably about 2 years ago, and you could use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Was quite
Like,
recent.
I used it on my natural prep. But again, I don't think your himbine's this game-changing thing. It's like cleanse band, right? And I don't
that's
think is
muscle
going to be
sparing.
as much of because that's a stimulant essentially. There's not going to be as much of a game changer as Reta in a prep, I don't think, because a lot of people will find it hard to get into condition because, well, not necessarily because they're not on enough stimulants. It's because like the kind of suffer in that way, it's their
But
approach.
so it's like Ryan said, then, isn't it? Like, who is deciding that? Sort of who decided that?
Yeah,
Yohim Bino is not allowed. Where was this? What studies were made, or what kind of
Yeah.
input was given to say like we can't use this anymore because of blah blah blah. So who's going
yeah,
to do the same with Reta, I suppose? And
for
it's probably
sure.
going
Yeah,
to happen, isn't it?
I,
It's going to be questioned.
yeah, I reckon so. Like, especially with peptides now becoming as popular as they are, and with different advantages, it's like, could
So
that be
where are we at with peptides? Are they also? I mean, I'm a bit
some?
behind, obviously, as you can tell.
One. So
I think
many.
TB, either one or the other. TB 500 is banned or BPC is banned, one or the other,
Right.
which is crazy. And some are allowed. I think some are banned. I'm not too well versed on the actual banned criteria, but I think yeah, that's a crazy one, right? Because again, there's going to be people who have an advantage, and then people are going to be like, maybe I should take Reta as well. Right, cool. This guy,
It's a
should
slippery
I
slope,
take?
isn't it? It's a slippery slope. Then what are we going to
Yeah.
allow?
Yeah, and
I think
then
something as game changing as to be honest, it makes sense to me that Glenn is banned. It makes sense because I do think that it adds enough for it to be like quite an advantage.
yeah,
But yeah, Reta is the same as well. I think that it's game changing enough for someone dieting. So, but again, who the hell am I to say that? And why are we allowing one thing and not allowing another?
Yeah, I'd be really scared to not feel hunger in a prep. I'd be
Oh
like,
yeah,
this is
Imagine
it's
that.
really,
weird.
I like you were saying, Mark. Like I like that. I'm like, yes.
So, do you
Hello,
reckon?
Kitty.
Hey, nice pussy,
Oh,
man.
I love
Do you
your pussy,
reckon?
mate.
Percy has joined the party.
Do you reckon do you reckon we're hardcore, or do you reckon people should do? I want to know your guys' opinions on this. Should people do their prep, their first prep, without considering Reta?
Yeah.
Should they do it also naturally? Because we were on that topic earlier. Like,
Yeah,
should
why not?
they do
I
it
think
naturally?
I think it's character building, isn't it? You know, like experiencing the discomforts is all part of
Yeah,
growing, not even as a bodybuilder, just even as a person, because I think we can all agree that the preps you've been on almost shape how you evolve as a person as well, right?
100%.
My
Yeah,
my first prep
Transferable
was
skills.
my first prep, believe it or not, was 16-week keto prep.
What?
yeah, man,
True
man.
to go.
1,000,000%. I think I was actually having bran flakes, like 50 grams of bran flakes a day. I
You're
don't even
allowed,
think
like,
that
I think
was,
it's capped at 30 carb for,
yeah, so it was 30, so it was 30, 50 grams equal 30 grams, I'm sure it was. And that's all I was having every day. And I was doing them like overnight oats in the nighttime, I was soaking them overnight in the fridge. And I just brought some weird sweetness out of them in the morning. It was like heaven. But
It's
16
mad.
weeks of that shit, no cardio.
Yeah, yeah. I
hey,
think those preps
First,
build you,
first
right?
prep ever. First
Those
fucking prep
horrible
ever.
prep, like my first prep, fucking was the worst prep I'll ever do. Like the hardest prep I'll ever do, right? Because that was like almost a year.
like, what the fuck is going
Fuck that.
We- and it was
Was it all out as well for a year, or was it like
so
just trickly?
it just got worse. So it was 42 weeks.
Fucking
This is
hell.
I started when I was 18. It's my first experience dieting, and it was one of those where it was like, all right, you're not responding. Let's make it harder. And I was working as picking shopping at the time. I was going to college, and I was getting like fucking crazy steps, like between 20 to 30K, depending on if I was working, because I had to walk to work as well, and I was doing 2 hours of cardio. Sometimes you would program like 45 minutes of hit, right? Which is
Whoa.
That's
mental.
got to
And
be.
that there was a period of time where, it was zero carbs, 2 hours of cardio, trained 6 days a week, and it was like fucking 5 to 7 sets per exercise. And yeah, I was doing all that shit. And I remember getting to a point where I couldn't go to work because I fucked my foot up from walking on it. And I was like, I just can't walk on this because my
Oh,
foot's fucked.
fucking
And then
hell.
I had to stay at home, take these fucking caffeine tablets, green tea, and all that shit, and just be on my bike doing like it was called MET, so it's like medium intensity intervals, just all
Yeah.
day. And I did it to the point where I had blisters on my arse, right? I was like, fuck. But
Yes.
again, I was in that mindset of right, this is what it requires to do prep, right? And I thought this is what it takes. So much like what we were on about earlier, I was like, okay, cool. So that tested me more than any prep probably will, because of just how crazy it was
Mm.
circumstantially. And then afterwards, I was like, yeah, let's do it
Easy.
again.
Oh fuck. Well, it's primed you for like
Yeah.
experiencing that level of discomfort. Now things must fucking feel easy in comparison, you
Yeah,
know. So,
yeah. I mean, this is literally added to the saying of where I say too easy, right? Because I was like,
Okay.
right, I know now. I know what I'm willing to do.
mm,
So what I have to do
yeah,
is so easy. It's too easy, right? So if you're prepared to do more than it requires, then the process is always going to be too easy.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that's literally what that means, right? So and yeah, but I think having, because if you try to make a process as easy as possible, you're focusing on discomfort. Like, you're scared of discomfort, right? Because you're
mm,
focusing on it being easy, trying to make it easy. So, oh, I'm too hungry. Let's make this, more satiating, or da, 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 da. Let's have a refill. Let's manage fatigue. Da, da, da. If you focus on doing as much as fucking possible, I'm not recommending doing that, but like on the other extreme, you're gonna be like, fuck, you're gonna see how hard you can fucking work.
Yeah.
With more context as well from your childhood and things that have created you before bodybuilding as well. Like that's, often creates a mindset of like, wow. I can do this, and this is my
Yeah,
purpose, this is my belonging. So you
that's
had
it.
your character shaped as a child also, and then it's like, well, I can fucking do this.
Yeah, it's a crazy one. Yeah, but I loved seeing myself doing shit like that because I never thought I would be able to before that because I was just a kid when I started it. I was like, God, I've never fucking worked so hard for something and been able to juggle my life. I was like, shit, okay. So now when I'm doing shit and I feel challenged by it, I'm like, well, you're not going to let an 18-year-old outwork you. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
can't
Little
let that
Jack,
guy beat
Big
me.
Jack.
Yeah,
It's funny, like, you hear some people, they'll say, like, I wouldn't make you do anything I wouldn't do myself. And you're like, fuck off. A lot of them people are fucking full of shit because
I love
I
that.
say that, and I've been into deep dark places, Mira. I'm not gonna lie, and I find myself giving it too easy to some clients before. I'm like, but I think I probably can take a bit more. But then I hear a lot of people always say, I'm not willing to make my clients do anything I'm not willing to do. I'm like, fuck off.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yourself, if you've done that, and sometimes
Yeah.
you do hear your clients moan and whinge, even though it kind of contradicts what we said earlier. But not everyone's the same. But you know what you can do.
Guys,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna have to shoot off.
Oh,
yeah.
it's just
No worries, my man.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Love you, mate.
See you next
Also,
time.
as
Love you too.
always,
Bye bye.
have a good one,
bye.
brother. But yeah, like, yeah, I think people are gonna miss out if they start prep with Reta. But then again, I suppose like I made this comparison in my head because I always try to fucking argue with myself when I think of a point, you know, like a
Punch
crazy
it, you put
person. I was like,
multiple.
Oh, I did it. Yes, I did. Oh, I did it. Yes, I did.
so I'm thinking in my head, yeah, but maybe this is just us evolving, right? And would it be like, oh, you've got to have your first kid without any fucking painkillers, just as natural as possible, right? Just to feel the process. So you can really fucking build something from yourself.
How
Um,
how about looking at it like this? And what if you think about it, right? This is my personal opinion, but physiques look different these days. That's a no-brainer, right? And I see that certain compounds or certain drugs or whatever can have an effect on the physique, how they look,
mhm.
ultimately in the end. So maybe this will be an era that we start seeing different kinds of physique because of the introduction of better. Um,
Mm.
some even that in a show you'll see some people I've been there where I've held like a film of like water, a very light film of water on my lower abs, and I know what compound did that, and I know why. And so taking that out from the next show was a completely different ball game. So maybe we'll start to witness, different looks, maybe good, maybe a bad thing. We don't know, but maybe this is something we'll start to notice now that this thing is happening. You never know. It might be one of the things where people look grainy as fuck and look unreal, or they might just not have that edge. We'll soon find out, I'm sure.
I've got a
That
friend
is another thing, yeah.
like it blew his gut out because he kept taking the Reta while he
Mm.
was high carb, so he was peaking for the show, and the counteraction of that, his blood and his gut blew out, and he's
So
men's
you've
physique.
seen it firsthand.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's men's physique, so he's like a fucking Dorito. He's known for his waist being dialed the fuck in. And I
yeah,
messaged Jack, I was like, "This is the first investigation I need to share with you." It's
yeah.
someone's
I
meant
think
to not.
Can you
I
show
do
me
think
that as
we've
well when you
seen
get a
that,
chance?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do think we've seen that a couple of times with Nick Walker as well. He did a prep on Reta and he didn't have a great showing at the Olympia and then he stopped using it. He looked better. I think you are going to see more midsection issues. I experimented with Reta and I know that it was harder to keep my waist in and I wasn't using a lot, I was using under a milligram and I was like, okay, cool. I can see this is I don't think I would feel comfortable on a prep just because if that just adds a little bit more bloat, even just a little bit,
Right.
because I think when you're dieting, having your stomach empty for a long period of time,
Take
um,
it.
it sort of, keeps it. sort of streamlined and
Yeah,
easier to sort of manage your waste.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think with Reta, you're just going to feel, you're just going to have food sit in your stomach a bit more. So even if you pull it out, I don't think you will have the same advantage. That and another thing that I've noticed as well is people tend to be flatter, have this flatter look when on Reta. I'm not sure if they're just, well, obviously it slows down digestion, so potentially uptaking carbs to
Hmm.
store as glycogen may be changed in that respect as well. You just don't
So
have the same
what?
pop.
So what's the kind of protocol with it? Do people keep it in right to the very end? I mean, I obviously I've seen people recently who have competed who are on it. I just never actually dived into finding out the details of when you stop
So
taking it, when you stop taking it.
you would take it. So if you're wanted to do a linear load, for example, and you're trying to sort of be ready, slowly carb up for the show for like a week or two, you would probably take it out
Okay.
a couple of weeks beforehand, or at least reduce it by quite a bit. The issue is with that as well is you develop a certain skill and then you can sort of even refine that skill again every time you prep of managing cravings. You don't get that opportunity when that hunger is suddenly that's been subsided suddenly hits you all at once because you haven't taken the Reta. And that's one of the big issues that people have when they stop taking this. Is like, oh shit, the cravings are crazy
It's
because you've
real.
suppressed on it. Yeah, you've not had that skill. It's like, when when you've been in an off season for a long time, you start dieting, you feel that hunger, you're like, oh right, okay, cool, and then you're like, right, I feel this. That's
Yeah.
just, yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's
You're like,
weird for me. I can kind of switch off from hunger cravings. It's weird. It's like I've taken like invisible Reta.
yeah,
It's
It
called a
doesn't.
mindset.
Yeah, well, just it really. I mean, you might be the same. It just I've got to the point where food really doesn't bother me. Sometimes I know, when you're a few weeks out, it's more a psychological thing. And yes, you are
yeah,
hungry, but I've started. Even when I started this little diet that I did recently, I personally just went in and I started eating 2, 3 meals a day, and I was thinking to myself, I'm not hungry. I don't need it. But you do realize your physique does pay the price for that. I don't care what anybody says. Food makes a fucking difference, right?
yeah,
And when you're starving yourself, and I felt that little pop was gone and the fullness and all that shit.
yeah.
So when
That's
I
the
started,
tricky thing,
yeah, but
balancing that.
but I don't have an issue with switching that need for food off. It's like
Yeah,
it's a bit too dangerous for me. If I'm honest, it's
I,
a bit like,
yeah.
mm,
I
Just
could
like
definitely relate to that. I need to get into it though. It's like once I've had a few weeks dieting, feeling hungry, I sort of get into like a nice flow with it,
flow, right?
and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
and
you like.
I get to the point where um, I'm like, okay, I find if I make my food blander as well,
yeah.
it's easier to not be food focused. Then I'm like, cool, I can feel like this. And again, it's like you say, you can get too addicted to that. I go, being hungry equals progress. You're like, fuck.
Mm,
I literally did this on a carb up where I lost like 10 pounds in a week, where I'm like, holy shit, I look like a child because I'm just so fucking, let's go, let's lean into this. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, that's too much. That's too
yeah,
much.
yeah. That was me. My check-in photo showed it perfectly. I was like, oh fuck, what have I done?
I don't know. It's
Oh,
funny as well. Like, I think when you first start out, like you were saying earlier, Jack, with like almost trying to make it easier. Like, I used to watch so many bikini athletes that had all the zero syrup stuff and that. And I was like, that's what makes a real bikini competitor. I ain't gonna have all of this. So I'd have something on every meal. And it's fucking disgusting. But I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm a real competitor now. This is what they all do. So I did that
mm,
for
It
my
makes
first
it
prep.
harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then when I took it out and went back to it, just so I think I won a bottle at a fucking raffle at a gym or something. I was like, this is literally disgusting. It
yeah,
is fucking vile, and also obviously the knock-on effect to your gut can be a thing because
Mm,
spanking sweeteners and stuff. And
yeah.
I also in the 19-week diet I did last year, like sometimes I'll have a 10 cal jelly just for the shits and giggles, like not all the time, maybe like a couple over that 19 weeks. One of them was a cherry bakewell one. So what you're saying about it being sweet, Mark, I had that and I was like, I like literally it was like a physiological response to wanting like I'm fine with hunger, but I was like, whoa, I'm not gonna have one of them again. Because it was like
Mm,
this physiological response where I was like, oh, cherry fucking Bakewell,
that's it.
get in me. And I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Naughty.
Yeah,
And
literally.
then
It gets like that. And I definitely had preps where I'm like, well, let's make this as nice as fucking possible. You get too into that. You're like, how do I
Yeah.
make, putting fucking egg whites in my oats and try to
Uh,
volumize it and shit. I remember, because I was prepping at the same time as George, and he started putting fucking baking soda in his oats,
yeah.
right? I made it like,
Yeah.
more voluminous, more cake-like, and I would spend like half an hour trying to make my oats and shit and make them as big as possible. It's like, bro, like my eyes are off the wall. Just go to fuck your midsection, that shit. Whereas you're like, okay, cool. It's this, it's bland, because you can't eat any more of it. You're definitely gonna be hungry enough to enjoy it. So it's like you don't want to make it about food. Well,
Yeah.
you want to make it about food as little as possible.
Yeah.
Just eat it, crack on. You don't want to obviously you're going to be hungry, but you don't want to try to obsess over these of your meal. It's like, oh, I've got like protein pancakes with like no sugar syrups and da 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 da. It's like, yeah, but now you're thinking about food all. It's like watching food porn, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, cream of rice with some fucking berries and a little bit of cinnamon, all that
Oh, that's
good stuff.
sexual.
It's probably as sexual as mine goes, to be honest. I'm
Oh,
not one to even try and make things look pretty, and maybe I've done it for an Instagram post, but honestly, if you really saw what my pet food look like, it's like fucking dog food.
yeah,
It's,
eat the fucking food.
it's just energy. It's all it is. It's just fucking energy. Get it down here.
that's it. That's the best
Oh,
way to do it, man. Right, guys. We've Yeah, we've been on for a good amount. Do you guys want to say anything before we close? Before we
My
wrap up?
bladder's just in training at the moment. I'm like, if we
Oh,
talk, I've got about 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna have to say I need to pee. So yeah,
yeah.
good news, good news. The bladder will be emptied. As appropriate as always, that's my parting gift to you too.
love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you for
I
sharing.
appreciate
No
it, Sarah.
TMI here.
Thank you.
See me dancing on Instagram or doing something fucking weird because I don't
Yeah,
know what's going on with my brain at the moment, but I'm doing weird shit. So
that's what it's about.
Oh,
Be
don't
weird.
forget,
Be
guys.
weird and
Don't forget.
wonderful.
Just wanted to leave this there. September 20th.
honestly,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
videos from Mark, oh Mark, oh God, I was like, oh, I
So
love you so much. I love
yeah, I
you.
mean, better clarify this to whoever's watching. Like, obviously, we did talk about me being in Ibiza, and obviously last week, me and Jack were like, Jack, I think I'm going to hold back on a couple of those stories I've just told you. I don't know if that's going to be appropriate, but yeah, it just happened to be obviously on Instagram. You can't save shit, and I don't even think I was in the right state of mind to remember if I was saving things or not. So, but I'm glad you had fun watching them.
Honestly, it created my life. I just done a podcast. I was sitting here with the lights on, and I was like, oh, and there was a video, and then there was another video, and I was like, wow, we're together.
Ah,
I'm
fuck
in
it
the
up.
lights in the podcast room.
We'll have to have a chat about it all. I'll try to remember what the fuck
We'll
I
have a
did.
private chat
Yeah.
about it.
I was reminded. So Caden, I was speaking to Caden, and he goes, "Do you remember that time when he did that suicide shot in that club?" Like, what? I was wondering what my eye was sore the next day. Do you know we do the whole like
Oh no,
tequila,
I've never
lemon
done
in your
that.
eye, and fucking snort the salt? Yeah, did
Jesus
all that. Don't
Christ,
remember any of it.
I've never done
bro.
that. That
So
you're
yeah,
too
No,
fucking
that's
off.
hardcore, man. That's yeah, that's some
I think
crazy
you could
shit.
ruin me and Jack. Like I've been to a lot of raves, but I don't know. I don't
we
fit. I
we
think
can find out
like
in
Jack.
September.
I reckon I'd be rude quite quickly, to be honest.
Jack and I, R.I.P.
I'm
Yeah,
just leaving it there anyway. Just leaving it there and
it's
planting
very
some seeds.
tempting.
We died in Ibiza. We're embraced on the beach like,
Can you imagine
G,
do one of
it's
these
our time
podcasts
to
there though
go.
on the beach? If we did one of these on the beach side, like all like half
Can you
baked or
imagine?
whatever.
It's our
Be
time to
nice.
go. It's our time to go. We did it.
All right. Anyway, it's just a thought. Be cool.
No.
That would be cool, man. That would be cool.
No.
Fuck.
Alrighty.
Alrighty,
Wow.
guys.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate you guys.
Cool.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on.
See you later.
Peace
See
out,
ya.
Adios. Till the next one.
guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.